Hey everybody, I'm going to be leading a painting activity that's similar to kind of a paint night, and the theme is cactuses against a desert sky during sunset. So what I did first was I made a palette of all these different sunset shades and different greens for the cactuses, and if I tilt my phone like this, there we go, you can see the palette. So I took my primary colors, my whites, I had a green actually, so I was able to mix some greens, but you can use blue and yellow and white and different combinations to play around with different shades of green. If you don't have a palette, you could maybe use some paper cups or little paper plates. So use whatever you have at home. And you might want a cup of water handy so you can wash off your brushes, and a few paper towels so you might be able to dry the brushes if you don't have several brushes, one for each color. So the first step is to make all of your different sunset colors. So I always think pinks, yellows, maybe shades of orange. So I made about 4 or 5. I played around with mixing the pink and the orange together, which I thought looked really, really cool, kind of like a salmon color. So I would say use a little bit more pink and a little bit less orange. Once you have a good 3 or 4 colors for your sunset, then you can start painting your sky. So I use canvas paper. You can use a real canvas, or you can use canvas paper or any kind of heavy paper like a construction paper, oak tag, something like that you might have lying around your house. And you can always ask a grown-up for help. So I did this in advance. I mixed my colors, made my palette, and then I made my sunset scene, and I let it dry for about 20-30 minutes. So now I'm actually ready for the second step, which is to do the cactuses, and I thought I would show you that live. Hopefully I can get it done in 5 or 10 minutes so this video isn't too long. It's my first art video I've ever made, so bear with me. I'm gonna paint the cactuses, and I'm gonna tilt my phone so you won't be able to see my face, but you'll be able to see the paper. So I'm gonna think of different shapes of cactuses, and I was kind of inspired because I have some little cactuses plants on one of my windowsills. So I thought I would start with that basic saguaro cactus, the one with the arms. So I'm gonna take my slightly darker green, and I might actually choose a thinner brush. I'm just gonna kind of paint the outline of the cactus. So I'm gonna try to make this one a little taller. And I can draw the arm. And then once I do the outline, I can fill it in later and give it some detail. The outline is first. And I'm gonna make it pretty tall. And the good thing about cactuses is there's no right or wrong way to paint them or draw them, because they're all different shapes and sizes. Still doing my outline. And you guys can take more time than I am. I'm kind of going quickly so that I don't make a very long video. And then I'm gonna make another arm. Almost. This arm will be a little taller. So that's my first cactus. Now when I'm happy with the shape, with the outline, then I can fill it in. Remember, I've already let this paint dry, so you definitely have to let your sunset background sit for at least 20-30 minutes, depending on how thick the paint is. Right, so I'm going to paint this, making sure that I fill in all the spaces. This arm is a little fatter than I'd like, but you know, all artists make mistakes, and they turn their mistakes into something cool, which is what I'm trying to do right now. Alright. Alright. I'm going to try to do 3 or 4 different shapes of cactuses. And that'll give me a little variety. And I might actually make this a little taller. Yeah, there we go. So it stretches into the top, the pink part of the sky, a little bit more. And I'm making sure I have enough paint on my brush so that it really fills the entire cactus with that green color, and I'm not seeing any orange or anything underneath. And again, you want to take your time because you have all the time in the world. All right, almost done with this one. Got a little blue on my brush accidentally, but that's okay. It's just going to make the green a little bit more blue-green when I blend it all in. Remember, if you want a really light color, you got to use a lot of white and just a little tiny bit of the color. Okay, so now that that cactus is done, I'm going to move on to cactus 2. I'm going to give it a different shape. And I want to use a different shade of green. So I have this kind of yellow green that I'd like to use. All right. So I'm thinking some cactuses have like circular shapes. This will be a little bit more circular. And they'll have a few parts. This brush is thicker, so it's helping me work a little faster, actually. Gonna kind of do it in the shape almost of a snowman. Be kind of tall. And later on, when the green paint dries, you can always add little details to your cactus. You can have your white paint and just do tiny, tiny little pricks or thorns with the white so that they show up. And some cactuses also flower, so you can think about whether you want to have a flower in your cactus or a few flowers. And maybe you can reuse some of the pink, or maybe make the pink or orange a little darker or lighter from your shades that you use for the sky. So I'm going to do just one more little thing on the top. This will be a really tall cactus. Since we have Mother's Day coming up, Father's Day, maybe some other holidays, or you might have a family member or someone you love's birthday, this kind of a painting can make a really great gift. Okay, again, I can always go back if I'm not satisfied and touch it up or add detail later. So the third cactus, I'm going to use a third shade of the green, and I made sure I made a lot of greens just so I was really pleased with the variety, like I had a lot. So I'm just going to make this cactus a little bit shorter. I'm going to make it almost like a blue-gray green. It's going to be a nice simple, almost like an oval shape. I have a cactus just like that on my shelf. And if I wanted to, I could actually, if you have cactuses at home, or your parents or grown-ups at home have any little cactuses, you could almost do it like it's a still life. You could put some cactuses out in front of you so you can see the actual object as you paint it. So again, this is a different shade. You see it's a little bit more blue, gray, green. I'm going to fill it in. Later on, if you wanted to add details to the sky, or if you wanted to add little tumbleweeds or other things you might find in the desert, even like a small desert animal, that's up to you. You can make your painting as detailed as you want. The most fun for me was mixing the paints, getting those shades and tints just right, and also just doing the sky. I thought that was really soothing to paint the sunset. And you can kind of blend the colors. You can have the orange blend into the pink, sort of like I did. All right. this is almost filled in. And if you spend a good amount of time, this could take a good 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and definitely add that time in between where the sunset has to dry. Okay. Almost done with this one. So, and again, if I wanted to, I have a cactus with flowers. You know, cactuses, again, they come in all different shapes, so you could always, you could add little parts where they kind of come out. For this one, I'm going to give it a flower, so I'm going to go back to my pink. I'm going to get a really tiny brush. Yeah, I'm gonna mix a tiny bit of orange in with the pink just to make it a little darker, so it stands out against the sky. There it is. And you know what? I might add a little bit of red. Just a tiny, tiny bit. So I'm gonna add some red, make it a little darker. There we go, that's the right color that I'm looking for. And I'm gonna make a little flower. Needs to be darker. And once I got my color, my reddish pink, the way I want it to, I can make my flower. I know it's kind of hard to see because the sky is pretty pink. So I'm gonna add a little more red. And a lot of art is just experimenting, kind of trial and error, as you all know from all the art classes that you do. So you can give the cactus a flower, and you might even take your white and add a little bit to it. That way your cactus has a flower. And then for the final step, I'm just going to wipe off my brush, my thin brush. Now if I were really taking my time and not making a video, I would probably let these dry, but if I wanted to do thorns or detail, I can just take my white brush and I can just add little tiny dots, really tiny dots. And that'll also make the cactuses kind of pop. So you can just add your little dots, as many as you want. It's kind of fun. And I might do that to this one too. I'm just going to add dots to all three so that they all stand out a little bit more. And one other thing I forgot to mention is you definitely want some kind of a table covering. So if your grown-ups at home have some old newspapers or just kind of a messy mat of some sort, I just use some scrap paper that I had lying around because I don't have messy mats at home or tablecloths at home. You want to make sure that you don't make too big of a mess and that you clean up after yourself. So definitely wash your brushes in warm water. Make sure everything's clean at the end. Just like you would in school, helping your teachers. All right. And this could even be a fun thing if you have a brother or sister or another relative at home with you, like a grandma or even your mom or dad. You can do it together. So you can each make your own cactus painting. Almost done. And if you wanted to use a black, I guess you could use a black for your thorns, or maybe a dark brown. You get to choose your colors. All right. So I'm pretty satisfied with my painting. It was pretty fun to make. And I might even try some other paint night activities, so stay tuned for more. So the final product, I'll hold it up a little closer to the camera, and I would love to see what you come up with. So if you have any, if you want to post some of your own pictures or show me, I would love to see them. But here's my desert sunset cactus scene. And again, it was pretty easy and simple to paint and pretty fun. So I would love to see some of your examples, and I hope you have a lot of fun. And I miss all the art classes and different things that I used to do with you. I hope you're all having a great time at home, and I hope to see you again on video soon. Bye.